For the 20th consecutive year, Denny Hamlin will have to try again next year. Kyle Larson's a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. Ryan Blaney won the race, which I think people forgot about. Yes, we should still get rid of this championship format. And yeah, NASCAR needed to throw a caution for William Byron. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. That was a weekend in Phoenix. Friday night's NASCAR Truck Series race, NASCAR was saved by Corey Heim going 7 wide and managing to win the championship there after having an all-time record-setting season with 12 wins in 25 races, leading laps in every single race of the season. On Saturday night, they didn't get saved. Jesse Love wins the race, and congratulations to him. He wins the championship, but everybody knows that Connor Zilisch had the championship season. And on Sunday, Kyle Larson picks up his second NASCAR Cup Series championship, despite not leading a single lap on Sunday in the championship race, despite not having won since May 11th, but he did score the most amount of points in the season. So in a full 36 race championship, Kyle Larson's still your champion. But on Sunday, Kyle Larson sort of backed into his second championship. And it's left people feeling pretty conflicted about this. Because on Sunday, this was Denny Hamlin's championship. To steal from the 1998 Daytona 500, 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration, this was going to be the year that Denny Hamlin was going to win the championship. He was going to ride off into that Phoenix setting sun. The bandwagon was finally going to stop in front of that championship stage, and Denny Hamlin was going to be a champion. The best to never win one. 60 Cup Series wins, 3 Daytona 500s. So many chances. And Denny Hamlin's championship was taken right out from underneath him. A late race caution, a green-white checker, determines who the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion is. And I think people left with a weird feeling about it. And it's not that Kyle Larson's not deserving of a championship. He is. He's got 3 wins this year. He's tied for top 5s, tied for most top 10s, second most amount of laps led this year. Like, Kyle Larson had a really, really good season. But Denny Hamlin had a better season in terms of wins, in terms of performance in this one race winner take all. If this is a 36 race championship, nobody has any single complaints about this. None at all. Kyle Larson scoring the most amount of points. Kyle Larson should be the winner here. But when you watch a guy dominate a race and then the race get decided by a green-white checker, it leaves you feeling dissatisfied. It's not a filling finish. You're like, it was there, but it wasn't at the same time. And that's not to take away anything from what Kyle Larson did, but Denny Hamlin led 208 of the 319 laps. William Byron cuts a tire down late in this race, running second in the championship, and NASCAR had to throw a caution for it. And I know there's a lot of people being like, this is the reason why Carl Edwards quit, because NASCAR throws a caution to set up a late race restart. But if you think about the caution before, the 44 J.J. Yaley doesn't even touch the wall. NASCAR throws a caution for that. William Byron cuts a tire down, does hit the wall. They have to throw a caution for that, for the sake of consistency. If they don't throw a caution for that, then everybody is out there going, well, why didn't you throw a caution for that? You want Denny Hamlin to win. You fixed it for him. Not that they would. Obviously, there's the lawsuit and everything else that goes into it. And then you have that side of the conspiracy of people being like, well, they threw the caution. They wanted to make sure that Denny wasn't going to win because of the lawsuit. Listen, they're professionals. It's not because of that. It's because they needed to throw the caution. So yeah, it did need to come out. And Hamlin comes down pit road and Chris Gale puts 4 tires on and Larson puts on 2. Hamlin lines up 10th on the restart. Larson lines up like 2 rows ahead of him. And ultimately, Larson goes to the outside, is able to pass some cars. Hamlin couldn't pass any cars on the inside. And Larson finishes 3rd and Hamlin finishes 6th. And that was it. Just weird. It's a weird way to determine a champion. I don't think it's the best way to determine a champion. As I said yesterday, take this format, fire it into the sun. I never want to see it again. Because like I said, on one hand, yeah, Larson should have won the championship. Been one of the best drivers all year. Scored the most amount of points all year. On the other hand, for this format, Denny Hamlin should have won the championship. But the championship was decided by tires on pit road and a 2-lap shootout, rather. I don't know. It's different. Ryan McGee from ESPN was like, are we sure we're married to the fact of getting rid of this championship format? Yeah, Ryan, I'm never been more sure of anything in my life. I'm married to this idea. I'll renew my vows on a weekly basis. That's how married to this idea that I am. Yeah, we need to absolutely get rid of it. It needs to go away. It needs to go to something else that is not a one-race winner-take-all. Because this race wasn't a Game 7 moment. This race was dominated by Denny Hamlin. And then a late race caution is what set up for this outcome that I think people are still sort of scratching their heads about. it's a weird thing to watch something and be like, yeah, like he's championship worthy, but I think we all know who should have won this championship today. It's just odd. It's odd. And I know there's people out there that are going to be super happy that Denny Hamlin lost the championship. People are going to be super happy that Kyle Larson won the championship. And rightfully so, right? Like that's what fandom is. That's what being a sports fan is. I completely understand that. But yeah, I just don't think it's the best way to determine a champion. This race, though, did have a lot of things happen in it, a lot of tire issues. And I don't want to see people get on Goodyear because of the tire issues, because ultimately it's teams being super aggressive and running low tire pressures. And when you run low tire pressures under the recommended pressures that Goodyear gives, you're going to do damage to the structural integrity of that tire. And eventually it could come back to bite you later on in that run. And it did multiple times in this race. We saw all 4 championship drivers have flat tires. Denny Hamlin got one under caution. And when that happened, I was like, this really is going to be Denny's year, right? This is like Kurt Busch 2004 at Homestead. When he comes to pit road, the right front falls off, goes out onto the racetrack. He makes it onto pit road, doesn't hit the attenuator in Miami, and the caution comes out and saves his day. He ultimately goes on to win the championship. And it felt like that was Denny Hamlin's day today. Got that tire to go down under the yellow and kind of saved him. Briscoe had like 2 tires go down. Larson had a tire go down. Byron famously had a tire go down at the end of the race there. Then you throw in a number of other drivers. You had Hocevar had a tire go down. AJ Allmendinger had a tire go down. Ty Dillon had a tire go down. Austin Dillon had a tire go down. Like, there were a lot of tires that went down on Sunday in Phoenix. But I don't want to see people get on Goodyear. This tire has run in multiple other races earlier this year. Didn't have the same issues as that. Goodyear has continually brought a tire that wears to the races, something we all want. Again, this week we had tons of rubber down the side of these race cars. The tire is definitely wearing out during the runs. And I thought that Phoenix, by Phoenix standards, really wasn't that bad. Over on TikTok and Instagram, I gave this race an 80. I thought it was actually an okay race, despite Denny Hamlin dominating the day there. Ryan Blaney wins on that late race restart. He passes Brad Keselowski. RFK now has gone winless for the year. Brad thought he was going to be able to steal one away here at the end, and he was a couple hundred feet from the finish line of doing that and loses out to Ryan Blaney by 900ths of a second at the line. So we got a good finish, a green-white checker, a weird championship battle, decent racing throughout the day, a new variable in terms of the tire. Like, all around, it wasn't the worst race we've ever seen. But I think people are still leaving sort of unfulfilled when it comes down to it. I think that this is still an incredibly flawed way to determine a champion. I think that it's not a great way to determine a champion. I think there's better solutions out there. And don't get me wrong, every format is going to be flawed. I think we all can understand that. That's not a secret to anybody out there. But to do it this way, it's odd. And honestly, on a human level, Denny Hamlin came into the weekend. Denny Hamlin gets unanimously booed at every single racetrack. I think everybody that's been to a race this year has heard the boos that come down for Denny Hamlin. People don't like him. They don't like that he's outspoken. They don't like that he ran into Chase nearly a decade ago. They don't like that he's suing NASCAR. They don't like that he employs Bubba Wallace. There's a whole lot of reasons that people don't like Denny Hamlin. That he drives a Toyota, those cheating Yoders once again. But this weekend, the tides turn. It was like Kyle Busch going to drive Chevy again. But Denny Hamlin's still in a Toyota. Denny Hamlin's still Denny Hamlin. But in the Jeff Gluck, who do you want to win poll, Denny Hamlin got like over 50% of the vote of people wanted Denny Hamlin to win a championship. They wanted to see Denny finally win that title that he's been chasing for literally 20 years. After a while, you just want to see the guy get it done, right? Like, you get frustrated watching him get frustrated because he hasn't won one yet. You feel bad for the guy. And this was the year. Everything came together for him. The wheels didn't fall off. The bandwagon made it to Phoenix, and ultimately it didn't happen. On a human level, the story of his dad, terminally sick, as NBC said, likely not going to be here to see another opportunity to watch his son win a championship. I go back to NASCAR Full Season, Season 1, Episode 4. It's after Martinsville, the elimination race to go to the championship race at Phoenix, 2023 season, sorry. The final, 7 minutes of that episode or so, show the absolute raw emotion of what it takes to compete for a NASCAR Cup Series championship. And there's about a 1-minute clip at the end of that of Denny Hamlin talking about his kids and how bad he wants to win a championship for them. Then it goes to his dad's garage, and his dad's wrenching on a 454. And he says that he hopes that one day they can break the cigar open that Michael Jordan gave his dad and said, we're going to smoke this when Denny wins a championship. And he said, I hope my dad's health hangs in there long enough to see that. I think about that a lot when Denny, over the last 2 years, when he's been competing for the title, Because, the older you get, mortality sets in, the idea of it. And on a human level, you look at Denny Hamlin. You may not like him, but for most people out there, you can relate to him on a parent level, right? Like, everybody's got a parent. Whether they're your adopted parents, your biological parents, doesn't matter. You have a parent. And to see him now probably not win this championship and his dad not get to see it, despite all the things that his dad has done for him in his life, yeah, it pulls out the heartstrings. I'll be completely honest. I wanted Denny to win for this, and I don't have rooting favorites, right? I want a good story. I need a good storyline out of this. That's what I want to do. I want to chase the storylines, and this is a storyline for sure. But just on a human level, as a person that has a dad, person that nearly lost his dad years ago, like, yeah, I wanted to see him get it done, and it bums me out that he didn't. It bums me out that his dad's not going to get to see that opportunity. And I know Denny lives in a gigantic house on Lake Norman, flies in a helicopter, got more money than he'll ever need. I get it. But you still want to see him get it done, right? Like, that's what it comes down to. So that part bums me out. Just a weird championship is really what it comes down to. Kyle Larson's a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. A deserved two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion. The guy's been lights out the last few years. The one race, winner take all type of format, maybe doesn't always play into his favor. Certainly did on Sunday. He got up on the wheel, drove the hell out of it with those two tires, and can't take anything away from him, right? Capitalized on the moment and went out there and took it. Hendrick Motorsports picks up their 15th Cup Series championship in their history. Wildly impressive. Becomes only the third driver ever for Hendrick Motorsports to win multiple championships for Rick Hendrick. Obviously, Jeff Gordon with his 4, Jimmy Johnson with his 7. Now Larson's got 2. First team to beat Team Penske in the Gen 7 era for a championship. And hell, good thing William Byron won last week at Martinsville, right? Because Ryan Blaney wins at Martinsville last week. Ryan Blaney's in the championship 4. Ryan Blaney's a 2-time champion probably coming out of this. Like, there's a whole lot of things about this race. And ultimately, it all comes back to the format. And this playoff elimination, one race, winner take all, it's inherently flawed. It leaves you kind of feeling empty at times. I think it leaves you with forgettable champions at times. I'm not saying that Kyle Larson's going to be a forgettable champion, but I think it devalues the championship in a sense. This was a weird race. A weird one in the sense of, like I said, Larson had great numbers all year. Larson had numbers that were championship worthy. But I think we all know that Denny Hamlin should probably be the winner of this championship. Just an odd one at that. Yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think about the championship, the outcome, Kyle Larson winning, anything else from the race as well. I took a lot of notes. And in my notes here, one of the last lines, it's 20 years of trying. Denny Hamlin finally wins the NASCAR Cup Series championship, so I could copy and paste that into Twitter. Didn't happen. But stage 1, pretty uneventful, slight courting issues that we kind of noted in there. Byron had long run speed. Byron looked good early in this race. Denny looked better throughout the rest of it. Then we kind of ran into some cautions in stage 2. You got John Hart-Nemechek going around. SVG went around. Chase Briscoe's got a right rear tire down. Kyle Busch had a tire go down. Kyle Busch, P5 finish on Sunday. Great result for him. Michael McDowell, I think, finished like P7, P8. Didn't even know he was in this race. AJ Allmendinger with another tire failure. Ty Dillon with another tire failure. Austin Dillon, like a lot of them had tire failures. Austin Cindric just absolutely cooked it into turn 3, backed into the wall, had a big time impact for him on Sunday. Yeah. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race at Phoenix. Do you still want to see the format go away? What would you have given it on a rating scale? Anything else you want to talk about? Let me know. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.